Okay, so I know I have to catch up on a couple of trailers that have dropped in the past couple of weeks, so let's just get right into it. Only really two that I want to discuss here. One very briefly, and one maybe a little bit more in depth. First off, Assassin's Creed. Trailer with Michael Fassbender dropped about a week ago. Yeah, it looks fine. It looks like a pretty faithful adaptation of the source material of the video games. It's kind of cool that it's going to be its own story set within the continuity, not really affect with what's happening with Desmond and stuff, but it's going to be another character being used by Abstergo. The action and parkour looks pretty good. The cinematography so far looks fine. I hope Jeremy Irons, Marion Cotillard, and Fassbender didn't just sign on for this movie and end up making a turd. Like, those are three actors I want to put a lot of stock in. I know Irons has made a couple of bad movies, but at least enjoyably bad movies, Dungeons and Dragons. I hope Fassbender is able to kind of give this video game movie adaptation some gravitas, give it some legitimacy, that it can be its own thing and not just be kind of this hollow reminder of the original product. We're gonna get into the Ghostbusters thing in a bit. Oh yeah, the Kanye song. Could have done without it, but it didn't really piss me off. You know, I kind of expected something mainstream would kind of not make that trailer completely compatible with my palate. Alright, let's get into Ghostbusters trailer number 2. And in light of a lot of stuff that's come up in the past week as well with regards to a certain internet critic saying that he's gonna boycott Ghostbusters by, you know, not seeing it and everything like that, and all the vitriol and stuff that was whipped up in response to that on both sides. I don't want to play into any of that really anymore. I don't want to play into the SJW looking for misogyny everywhere and every little criticism, and I don't want to play the fanboy that is calling rape of his childhood. I don't want to play those sides. I'm going to look at this trailer objectively as to what it does. Do the nostalgia hits work for me or not? Does the comedy work for me or not? And all in all, I have to say, I mentioned this in a previous kind of thought about this trailer. The biggest vibe I'm getting off of these promotional materials for Ghostbusters so far is reminding me a lot of the 2014 RoboCop reboot. At most, I was kind of feeling like, okay, this isn't necessary. Yeah, I recognize that you lifted lines from the original. I still don't feel it's necessary. And that is slowly becoming kind of my opinion on this movie. I'm still gonna see the film just because, again, I still just have that driving curiosity to know if somehow it can pull off a hat trick and be good, or if it is just a mess. Like, I'm fascinated by movie messes, and this might be the motherlode of it. I'm not sure yet, but based off the trailers, which of course trailers in and of themselves can be misleading, I don't know. There was some stuff in this trailer that was reminding me of a lot of things I heard about when watching some of Midnight Edge's videos with regards to the production of Ghostbusters and the proposed Ghostbusters 3 and what happened during the Sony leaks and the correspondence between Paul Feig and Amy Pascal. A lot of what I saw in this new trailer was touching upon story beats that Midnight Edge, and I recommend you go check out their channel if you're very interested in seeing like behind the scenes, behind the curtain of movie productions. They have a pretty kind of cool insight into it, at least. But a lot of beats in this trailer were matching up with some of the description that they had found with regards to what the plot of this movie is. And even so, I feel like I've seen this movie already. Not because this trailer pretty much shows off the whole thing, but also because it is very much feeling like a hollow echo more and more of the original Ghostbusters. Of course, there's the librarian ghost represented by whoever that ghost is that throws up on Kristen Wiig. It's a very similar scene. Their first outing, instead of Slimer, it's going to be that ghost at the Rock concert. And they still play that I don't know if it's a lady thing or a race thing, but I'm mad as hell line, which still, this time around, after I'm kind of burnt out on the whole love the new Ghostbusters or you're misogynist or this is just a bad movie debate, that line has just burned out of me and I don't find it funny. Even in the context of that, I don't find it funny. But that plays off like very much the debut of the Ghostbusters in the original film. To the point that it looks like someone's gonna be possessed. Chris Hemsworth is possessed. I mean, they talked about possession in the first trailer too, but now it looks like for a good majority of the film, Chris Hemsworth is going to be channeling the bad guy to achieve the bad guy goals. So call that. And to the point where it looks like the climax is going to take place on top of another large building with a swirling vortex above it and a Marshmallow Man-like character, which it isn't the Marshmallow Man in this. It's, I believe the villain's name is Rowan, and he's supposed to be like a gigantic version of the Ghostbusters logo with a bow tie. And if you check out the international trailer or version of this trailer, the second one, you get a better look at him. Again, it just feels like a hollow echo of Ghostbusters, which is at this point what I'm assuming it's going to probably be. It's going to be a very hollow echo of the original story. Of course, they're going to take their own liberties with it, but it's meant to hit those beats very much. Whereas with something like Star Wars, Force Awakens, hit the same kind of beats that A New Hope did, but at least was entertaining and engaging in those nostalgia beats. The nostalgia beats in this trailer really didn't do anything for me. The mass hysteria name drop, I was like, ugh. Really? I half expected her to say dogs and cats living together. There were 2 points where I found myself going, and that's the most I could laugh was a the very beginning where you have Michael McDonald describing like there's this evil, no one can stand a chance against it, but you girls can, good luck. And I wasn't really laughing really so much about that. I don't know, it was more about the fact that I just like Michael McDonald showing up in TV shows and movies and giving people shit. Like, I liked it whenever he showed up on Scrubs and was a pain in the ass to who, I believe, Elliot. I liked him on Mad TV, and you know what? The only reason I really laughed at that was because I recognized instantly it was Michael McDonald, so I'm like, oh, he's gonna say something very smart-ass towards somebody, and he did. So I can at least rely on Michael McDonald for that. Good old Michael McDonald. And the second time I laughed, it was a Leslie Jones bit. And I think the reason I did laugh at it a little bit, the reason I went, was because at least it was something that didn't feel like it was lifting from the original source material. Like it was actually kind of an original little joke in this world that had a little bit of payoff. And it's the very last scene where that rock and roll dragon ghost thing is perched apparently on Patty's shoulders, and everyone's like, Patty, you gotta, and she's like, nah, nope, I'm gonna go home. Yep, just gonna go home. And just the look on Leslie Jones's face and her like cautious walk, like, not gonna piss off the ghost, not gonna piss off the ghost. For a second, I found that kind of amusing, because I'm like, you know what, I've not really seen that fleshed out in a Ghostbusters movie before. We've had subtle things here and there of like Pete Venkman staring down Slimer in the hallway. He's just cautiously like, it's right here, Ray. It's looking at me. I guess maybe that could be lifted in a way, but at least like it was executed with some comedy. So at least I got an initial chuckle out of it. It really I'm just trying to be objective, but I know. Try to be objective, even though I mentioned a bunch of videos from Midnight's Edge and things like that should turn my bias against it. I'm still gonna go watch it just because my curiosity needs to be sated in that aspect. I know I'm part of the problem with the whole, oh, the only way to stop this is to boycott it. Believe me, I know. But you know what? It's gonna be seen by millions of people regardless. It's probably gonna do fairly decent box office regardless of how many campaigns are going to be to kind of shut it down. And again, even though I think it's a bad idea, I think this reboot is a bad idea, and all the marketing hasn't dissuaded me from that opinion yet. I just gotta know. I just gotta know how bad this is, or I just gotta know how surprisingly okay it could be. Again, I mentioned before, and it's been mentioned in other things, Paul Feig trailers have been misleading before. I hated the trailers for Spy, and I ended up enjoying that movie quite a bit. End of the day, it's gonna come down to tastes. I'm gonna develop my taste on this movie based off of the movie itself. But yeah, so far the marketing for it, I have some trepidation about the final product. More likely than not, I'll probably carry that into the theater with me. I just gotta know. I just gotta know, people. God help me. I just have to know.